hell do you think you are?
I'm the professor.
I was not expecting to see you here. Thought you were, retired.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Hey everybody, so I've cleaned out my trade binder. There is no cards in here whatsoever because I've decided to send off my binder to buy list it. So I am going to show you what made the cut to keep out of all these crack-a-packs we've been doing so far. Let's do, show you an idea and talk about like the decks that I'm planning on keeping this stuff for. So let's dive into the stack. So we got Blinkmoth Nexus, Creeping Tar Pit, and Relentless Bivouac. I'm keeping all three of these man lands for a Transformers, a 5-color Transformer deck. I figured my lands will transform, my creatures will transform. It's going to be, 5 colors, so I'm going to have all the Autobots and Decepticons. It's going to be my War for Cybertron deck, the entire war in one deck. So I figured the lands might as well transform in here as well. I'm going to keep an Emerge from Cocoon. It's one of the foils I cracked. Return target creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. You gain 3 life. Really good reanimation spell for some reanimator style decks. The Eternity Elevator of keeping a copy. I think I'm keeping more than one copy of this. Because, well, hey, that is a space bridge by any other name. Tap it, add 3 mana, put a bunch of your Autobots and Decepticons to crew it up so you can connect to Cybertron and add a bunch of mana, equal, get 20 Energon, 20 mana. So that's going to go in the deck. Ghost Vacuum, just a really good sideboard hate for some decks. Be able to, exile key cards from graveyard and then basically create an army of 1/1 spirits. We can get all the ETBs of my opponent's stuff. That's going to be something really kind of cool in a really control-y deck. Cosmogoyf. I plan on putting this in my land destruction deck just in case I do fight anybody that's got the exile my graveyard type shenanigans. I'll actually have something big and huge when they're like, no, we'll Leyline of the Void. And I'm like, okay, I'll Cosmogoyf and I'll just start blowing up all the lands and getting into face. Tyrant Scorn. I wanted to keep this because hey, you can either destroy target creature mana value of 3 or less, or return target creature to its owner's hand. So it's a bounce spell or removal spell as you need it. Really good utility card for Commander. I'm thinking about in that 5-color Transformer deck, I might as well have some Cascade. Represent the Ravage, Eject, and Rumble and stuff like that. So able to play something and have it like shoot out another thing. So that's kind of my idea with that. Be able to get some land ramp as well at the same time doing Cascades. So yeah. And of course, this is going to represent the Decepticon battleship in the deck. But also I have my Nekuzar. Basically make everybody discard their hand, draw cards. So this is another little like, hey, you're going to be discarding a card, you might as well lose a life kind of card. So, yeah, just another way to deal some damage and hurt my opponent whenever they have to discard 7 cards and draw 7 more. So, yeah. Gravcool. I've loved this as a removal spell. It's really nice. You get to exile something, either a creature or spacecraft. Might not see too much play in Commander for the spacecraft angle, but exiling the creature, that's going to be fun. So just a nice, extra removal spell for my Commander decks. Mockingbird, because it comes into play as a token of any other creature, depending on how much you spent for it, plus it becomes a bird. So, a good clone effect if you need it for a Commander deck. So I figured that is probably going to stick around 3 steps ahead. Modular counter. It's either a counter spell or it's a token maker, or it's a draw spell, or it can be all 3. So yeah, I figured it's good enough for me to keep and put into some blue decks that need some counter spell or some token making. So figured I'd keep that for Commander. So this is the alternate art version of Lorien of the Third Path. Yeah, when enters, I can destroy one target artifact or enchantment, and tap you and opponent each draw a card. So a little Kingmaker, be able to, especially if they here have this deck, if I do remake my Get Through the Great Heart, I can give it to somebody and then automatically destroy the illusions of grandeur or other effects that I'm like, no, I want that to go away. So you have to suffer the bad thing of it leaving the battlefield, and then I can be like, hey, we're all gonna draw a card. You know, you and me, we're gonna draw a card, kind of thing. So that's kind of cool for my group hug here. Play with all my toys. I don't want to, you know, I want you to play with. High Noon, just a card to be able to keep in a white-red commander deck for some Storm Hate. In case I'm playing against a lot of Spellslinger decks, I can slot this into the deck. You know, just to the meta. Jace Reawakened. I figured this was not too bad of a card. You know, you get to draw a card, then discard a card, so you get the loot. Exile a non-land card with mana value of 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted, so I can plot some cool stuff and some cheap stuff. And until end of turn, whenever you cast a spell, copy it. So if I want to do my own Spellslinger copying effects, this is probably going to end up in that deck. Essence Capture, counter target spell, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. So yeah, I do have Brow, Chief of Compliance, so I want to keep a bunch of the cool, interesting counter spells for building that commander deck. Just being able to counter a spell and then put a +1/+1 counter on Brow to make them a little tougher, a little harder to remove. That's kind of cool. Again, another card I kept for the Brow deck, the Divert Disaster. Counter target spell, unless its controller pays 2. So basically, it's a smaller mana leak. And if they do pay the 2, then I get to have the lander, and then I can use the lander in order to ramp myself or do some fixing. So that's a cool card. Compulsion, you know, just another in here really good. You know, pay 2 blue, draw a card, discard a card, or pay 2 blue, sacrifice it, draw a card. It's a little card draw engine for my blue decks. Mulacum Synthesizer decided to keep this because whenever I cast an artifact of mana 3 or greater, I get to create a 0/0 construct. It's +1/+1 for each artifact I control. In my Cybertron deck, this is definitely going to be the card that's going to be pumping out a bunch of constructs, a bunch more cannon fodder for the war. So that's why I'm keeping that. Virtue of Knowledge. You know, I can cast this as an instant for its adventure cost. So for 1 in a blue, I can copy target, activate, or triggered ability I control. Can choose new targets for the copy, so a little copying effect. And then when it is played as the enchantment, I get ETB triggers an additional time. So that's probably going to go into. There's a lot of cool ETB triggers on the Autobots, so I'll probably put that into the Autobot deck. Thundertrap Trainer. Offspring 4, so I cast this, I get to make a 1/1 copy of it. Enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library, reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of any order. So for that Brawl Chief of Compliance deck, this will help me go look for my cool instants and sorceries I want to cast, possibly get me a counter spell, and then get me another counter spell, hopefully, with those, with the Offspring. So, and yeah, the Intrepid Battlecruiser, like I said, keeping 2 copies of that because I got 2 different decks I want to put it in. Gumdrop Poisoner, attempt to create a food, and then Lifelink. Enters the battlefield up to 1 target creature's -X/-X till end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain. I am building a Odoro King Acidic, my Esper life gain deck, so this deck is going to be gaining a lot of life. So I might as well have something that if I gained a bunch of life, I get to get a removal spell. And I also get to have the ability to create the food. So if I don't have a way to trigger life gain, I can trigger life gain by sacking the food. So that's going to be good. Come Back Wrong, just another reanimate spell. Somebody kills one of my key creatures. Well, actually, no, this is the removal spell, and then I can get my opponent's ETB trigger. So I think that's a really cool upside, even though I got to sacrifice at the beginning of my next end step. But just getting the ETB, making it so they don't have it. Yeah, nice, cool trick. So I kept 2 of the copies of that. We got Cruel Claws Heist. I think this card is amazing. For black, you can gift a card. Let them draw a card, then you get to reveal their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. Gifts of Promise, you may cast that card as long as it is exiled. Cool card to play in Commander. Somebody went and also playing black, maybe you can get one of their tutor spells, or you can get some mana rocks, or you can get some, or somebody's playing a cool colorless deck, you can get a cool colorless card to be able to cast. So yeah, that definitely need to be something to play around with in my decks. Vampiric Rites, sacrifice a creature, gain 1 life, and draw a card. This is actually going to go in my zombie deck, because I do have a lot of ways to get creatures out for free or cheap, and being able to pay the 2 mana, sacrifice it, gain a life, and draw a card. Very good for that deck to be able to dig through to get my combo pieces. Virtue of Persistence. So basically, it's a removal spell. I can kill a something of 3 toughness or less, gain 2 life. So this is going to go into my life gain deck. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. There's a lot of creatures that in that life gain deck. There's the Sarah Ascendant, which ends up being a 1-drop 6/6. I know that's going to eat removal. A lot of people are going to try to kill my Felidar Sovereign. So being able to get that back and then basically be like, okay, it's back on the field. You got another turn. I'm probably going to have 40 or more life in that deck. You got another turn to try to kill this. So, cool thing. And the Infinite Guideline Station, this is going to be my Ark, because it's not a planet, it is a spaceship, so it is going to be the spaceship that the Autobots and Decepticons landed on Earth with. It's kind of cool in that fact that it creates a 2/2 robot, so it poops out robots, and then if I do get it up and stationed all the way, it's flying, and whenever it attacks, I draw a card for each multicolored permanent you control. There's tons of multicolored permanents in that deck, especially because I'm going to put Cascade into it. So it's going to be like a 5-color Autobot Cascade deck. So I'm probably going to be drawing a bunch of cards when I get to attack with this. Yeah. Then we got Singularity Rupture. This is going to go into my... This is probably going to go into my Nekazar deck just because it's a Wrath. And then each player mills half their library rounded down. I'm going to be making them draw a bunch of... I'm going to be making them draw a bunch of cards. So chances are I'll get this off. I'll clear the board. And then, maybe they'll probably have like a few cards left in the hand where I just got to cast a couple of... everybody draws 7. Everybody discards 7. Everybody discards 7. Everybody draws 7. So I'm going to be very much like putting a lot of pressure on everybody after I cast this. I kept the Festering Gulch and a few other of these ping lands. It's kind of cool just to have a land that comes into play tapped. It does, this is the downside. It does give me both, 2 of my colors and, just a free 1.8 damage to my opponent. Turn 1, I'm gonna, if I don't have the Soul Ring and an untapped land and the Arcane Signet, I can still drop this out, be able to play a 2-drop or a 1-drop on the next turn and get a little bit of damage into somebody. I kept Uthros, Titanic Gods Core. I already put one of these into one of my decks already, but I wanted to keep a second one because this is Cybertron, making all that blue mana for each artifact I control. Definitely feels good, especially because it has to have like stations, so Autobots have to power it up, get Cybertron back online. It's not a full Tolarian Academy, but it functions like one, so it's like, but it functions like a broken Tolarian Academy. So definitely on flavor theme for the Transformers. Stomping Ground, I gonna be playing my land destruction deck is Gruul, so is Jund, so I do need the Jund Shocklands, so I'm keeping that. I do have a number of black and white decks, the life gain deck, so I need to have, this is great for getting that out on turn 1, 2, or 3, so it comes in play untapped. Marsh Flats, had an extra copy of this floating around in my collection, had slid into the trade binder, but yeah, it's fetch lands go in every deck, man. I found a Commander Sphere in some pile of cards when I was going through everything. So I got Man Spear, Swiftfoot Boots. Those weren't cracked out of packs, so we're just floating around. Then we got a Chromatic Lantern that's going to go into the 5-color deck. I kept a Radagast, Death Gastronaut, because I do want to build the red-white food artifact sacking deck. Buried in the Garden, kept a copy of this, because, hey, it's just a Chains of the Rocks, but instead of being in red-white, you got it in green-white, and it costs 1 more, but still good key piece of removal for a green-white deck. I think I'm going to put this one into Laura's green-white unicorn deck, so that way she can be like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to bury it in the garden. I think she'll love the flavor of that. Anguish Unmaking, another card I needed for the Esper life gain deck to be able to... And I know, it cost me 3 life, but I get to destroy something that's not a land for 3 mana and 3 life. Premium removal spell in Commander. Always comes in handy. And another Singularity Rupture, because I think I'm going to put one of these... I have another blue-black Commander deck that's... I think it's going to be blue-black-red. So that one... Yeah, the Nekuzar one, I want to put one in, and then I also want to put one in the... I also want to put one in the Esper Life Gain deck. So being able to keep both of these, just to be able to be like, I'll wrath the board and mill you guys down, because having all that life gain does make it the game go pretty long. So having something like that to put more of a clock on, if I don't gain through having a ton of life, I can also put some pressure on, and also get some salt where my opponent's just like, oh man, that was a good card, I really need that card, and they're getting into the tank thinking about all those good cards they mailed. Prosperity, green, red. It's the Terminal Agony. I keep wanting to read Prosperity. Destroy target creature, Madness. The Nekuzar deck is going to be... Yeah, no, it's black-red. So it only costs a black-red for its Madness cost, so chances are I'm going to play a Will effect and then destroy a creature off of that. Bioengineered Future. When enters, create a lander token. Each creature you control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each land that entered the battlefield under your control. Under your control this turn, so this is going to be... the Unicorn deck has a lot of +1/+1 counter synergy in it, so I kept this for Laura's Unicorn deck. Twitching Doll, I just find this to be so cute and so creepy that I had to put this in, keep this in here. I don't know what deck it's going to go into, but I'm definitely going to have some fun playing with a mana dork that ends up at the late in the game. I can just sack it and create like an army of 2/2 green spider tokens with reach. That's just, I don't know why, that just going right up my flagpole. I'm saluting that one. Tireless Tracker, another really good green card. That basically whenever you sacrifice a clue, you get +1/+1 counter on it. Landfall, you get clues whenever. So I'm thinking I might put this in the Unicorn deck. It's off color for the Unicorn deck, but it does, allow for some card draw in the deck. And yeah, Nature's Will. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, tap all lands that player controls and untap all lands you control. This is going into the Unicorn deck, so she can kind of hit in and then get like a second main phase with some card draw off the landfall tokens and some other ways to get some card draw into the deck. She can be like, attack with my unicorns. Okay, untap all of my lands. Play more unicorns. And Garruk's Uprising. This I'm actually keeping for rebuilding my Bears deck. I needed a copy for that deck, so I'm like, well, let's keep this around so we can get, because the Bears, all the tribal synergies, they're going to have power 4 or greater, so I get to draw a card. And it's going to give them trample, and wherever creature has power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. I mean, that, if I don't rebuild Bears real quick, those two cards together really work well in the Unicorn deck for Laura. Arch Enemy's Charm. Choose one, exile target creature or planeswalker, return 1 or 2 target creature and or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand, or put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control against lifelink until end turn. The last ability I'm not really looking for, my Sarak Mono Black Zombies deck, dungeon crawling deck, but being able to pay 3 to exile a creature or planeswalker, or getting back some key cards out of my graveyard, that is going right straight into a Sarac. Obnixos Reignited. This is a staple across almost all of my black decks. This is my favorite mono black planeswalker. Chances are it is destined to end up in land destruction first because, hey, I want to draw cards so I can have lands to play for my hand, and being able to play this out and kill something straight up is great. And that last ability is a lot more spicier for Nekuzar than anything else. So I might need to find a few copies of this because I think probably most likely home for this is going to be in the Nekuzar deck. Elegy Acolyte, Human Cleric, Lifelink. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card and lose life. Void at the beginning of your end step. If a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn, create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Yeah, so, and it's got lifelink and it's a 4/4. I think this is going to go in my mono black Nekuzar deck just to be able to give me some, because I'm going to be having a lot of zombies, a lot of things attacking in. It is a kind of a go wide deck, so having this to be able to get some extra card draw and the lifelink, yeah, it's decent. Bitter Blossom, another one is I'm going to go into the Nekuzar deck, just being able to pay a life, get a 1/1 blocker, and then I can end up sacrificing later on for making mana with a Phyrexian Altar or Ashnod's Altar or any of the other altars. Yeah, that is nice. Possession Engine, enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature and opponent controls as long as you control his vehicle. It's a good sideboarder. You can basically just drop this out for 5. You take control of something they have. If it's power 3 or greater, you can just crew this up to be able to attack with it all the time. Perfect way to shut things down. Take out key combo creatures. So definitely going to go into my mono blue control deck. Another card for Nekuzar, Force Evolution. I relied so much on other people playing this that I didn't have to play it in the main deck of my Nekuzar build, but I think this time around I'm going to have to. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. So even if they get the conditions on the battlefield to be like, hey, yeah, I'm going to cast some spells, I'm like, you're going to draw some cards, and chances are I made them mill half their library, and yeah, it's going to be nuts. Let them draw all they want, but every time they're drawing, they're losing a life. So that even triggers, they'll draw 7 cards, they'll lose 7 life. So straight to Nekuzar it goes. From Deer, 5 blue, but you're never going to pay for that. You're going to exile 2 blue cards from your hand, cast it for free, gain control of target non-creature spell, I may choose new targets for it. So yeah, this is going straight into my Brawl Chief of Compliance control deck. Sunblast Angel, this one is going to probably go into my my Grixis Esper Life Gain deck just as a board wipe, so I can basically play it out. If people got a lot of tap creatures, this can come in and just blast everything off the board. And especially if I've got it's the enchantment that makes all my opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tapped, then yeah, this is going to be, everybody's going to have a lot of tap down stuff, and this thing's going to come in and blow up, and I'm going to have a 4/5 and stabilize the board and get to my actual win conditions. Starval Invitation, gift a card. So basically you can let somebody else draw a card, and then you destroy all creatures. If a gift was promised, return a creature card put into your graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. So yeah, basically I got a lot of creatures in the life gain deck that all are themed around being the monarch, voting and stuff like that, and also like win me the game if I'm controlling them. So yeah, if I can wrath the board and then get one of my key creatures back onto the board, that's an amazing wrath effect, so I'm keeping that. Third, Mare of Destiny. Yes, I am building the unicorn deck for Laura, so I am putting the Mare of Destiny. I know it's not a unicorn, it's a Pegasus, but whenever I cast a Pegasus unicorn, whenever she casts a Pegasus unicorn or horse creature, she gets a copy of it, and they also all get +1/+1. And this thing's got flying and lifelink, so it's a lord for the unicorn deck. It's staying. Curiosity, enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. So I can put this on Nekuzar. I get to draw a card. If I play a wheel effect, I can, draw 7 cards, and then I'll deal a bunch of damage to my opponents, and then I can draw that many more cards to be able to get the true win conditions of the deck. Yeah, it's going in. Okay, that's the Luminarch. Another, enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. You can tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on it, or tap and remove a counter and then put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature control. Probably going to go into the Unicorn deck. It might end up going into the Autobots deck, because the Autobots do have a thing about +1/+1 counters. So I'm keeping it around. It's going to end up somewhere. Exalted Sunborn, Flying Lifelink. If one or more tokens create under your control, create twice that many tokens instead. And Warp. So this is definitely probably going to go into the 5-color Transformers deck, so I can warp it in when I'm about ready to make some tokens, and then I can make more tokens. Or actually, wait, no, this is going to go into Unicorns, because when she gets the token generator for the Unicorns online, she can have this out and do some stuff. So it's got some homes. And Fierce Retribution, 1 and a white, instant with Cleave for 5 and a white. So if you pay 6 mana, you can destroy any creature, or for just 2 mana, you can destroy a target attacking creature. I think it's going to be a filler card for a while, just in place of another removal spell. I mean, the artwork looks cool, so I figured, till I get the decks fully built, I'll probably keep a copy of this around. Yeah, that is everything I'm keeping, what deck it's going into, and I'm going to ship out the boxes of all my cards I'm not keeping, and I'll let you know how much cash I got for sending that out as soon as I get everything back. Peace.